Guinea-Bissau has seen a military takeover. An attempt at such was thwarted in Benin this week. These events have been accompanied by a flood of misleading narratives online. Some of these networks show clear signs of foreign influence, especially Russia-linked messaging, active in Mali and Burkina Faso. This is InfoCheck, where we cut through the noise and expose the systems behind West Africa's disinformation battles. To help us understand foreign influence and state-sponsored disinformation in West Africa, we are joined by Dr. Salaudeen Hashim, Program Director at Clean Foundation. Dr. Hashim, welcome to InfoCheck.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now let's start with foreign influence in Mali, Burkina Faso, and also in the context of what happened in Guinea-Bissau and Benin within the last 2-3 weeks. What signs do we see that outside actors are having a role in shaping online conversations in West Africa?
All right, thank you very much. I think the entire ecosystem in the Sahel suggests that there is now a movement that is going towards the far left, particularly pro-Russian actors in the region, a mix of state actors. We have also seen the activities of the former Wagner network that are affiliated to what goes on in the region. And one of the fundamental elements can be traced remotely to the activities of neo-colonialists in the region. Neo-colonialists and their activities suggest that there has been some abandonment of the welfare of the people and that they are only interested in resources that they can actually take in the region. So citizens are now beginning to come to a realization of a number of tactics that have been adopted. One, by creating some level of legitimacy for military rule in the region, particularly across the Sahel. And this is also sinking and recycling local grievances into broader Western activities that are also happening in the region. And we have also seen how the pro-Russian narrative has consistently portrayed military junta as stabilizers and amplifying the content through coordinated influencers and networks and sometimes paid proxies. So these actors try to exploit media restrictions and try to also use most of the accessible media platform to continue to fill information vacuum.
What do you think is the end game? So many experts have divergent opinions on this, but for you, what do you think is the end game?
Basically, is actually anti-Western frames, elevating messages that actually counters Western narrative. Basically, that is the fundamental element. There are growing concern that democracy apparently does not translate to good governance. And this, you know too well, has consistently been the pathway for the style of governance across the Western countries. But again, some of these colonialists also don't have the welfare of their former colonies at heart. And I think this also has shaped the kind of resentment in the minds of so many people across the Sahel. And the end game basically is that there are lots of warfare going on between the West and then, of course, the far left. And one of those war game is that there is supposed to be some element of new era of governance, which does not also put forward democracy. And you realize that that has been one of the biggest messaging that they have consistently pushed out there. And the idea generally is just to amplify that anti-Western frames does not sync with the people. And of course, the new generation of young people, which form over 60% of the population in West Africa, are beginning to align with this particular thinking. As a matter of fact, in Nigeria, during the End Bad Governance protests, there were times where young people mobilized with Russia flags, and they were calling on the president of Russia to come for their rescue. So you realize that this is just not happening in other countries, but here in Nigeria, that is actually the entire strength and powerhouse for the region, that young people are making those kinds of demand. So basically, the idea is just to be able to amplify some fake, but again, sympathetic news sites that continues to suggest that the West does not have the interests of the people. But again, there are local realities that suggest so, and that is exactly what they are trying to also get. So it's about alternatives, finding alternatives to the existing system that does not affect the human capital index of the lives and add value to the lives of the people.
Going back to the issues of coup d'etats in West Africa, the recent events in Guinea-Bissau, Benin more recently, have there been any online patterns of behavior that you have seen that has probably made you think that this might be coordinated?
Yeah, I mean, this suggests so very strongly, and that is because we have seen growing discrediting of civil institutions by some very big digital firms. And of course, there are also concerns that most of these digital firms are being procured by some state agents within some of these countries. So yes, that has happened. They have given citizens the belief that the courts, the media, and then of course those who are in the opposition reduces their perceived value that has come and have been added to their lives. So that is fundamental. And again, we have seen how observers have also reported that information warfare tactics has also been a rapid, coordinated narrative that has actually surged very lately, to the extent that we have seen how media blackouts, control of broadcast channels, has become one of the biggest weapons in the hand of state parties. They have used information and disinformation and narratives of press freedoms as one of the biggest weapon that they have seen to consistently attack or influence or provide citizens with information that oftentimes reverberates to rile the minds of the people. So the other opportunity that are there is for them to continue to stifle civic environment, which has also been one of the biggest weapons that we have seen that have been pushed forward. One of the biggest setbacks that ECOWAS in itself has done to itself by not providing some level of interested actors or institutions that are also interested in strategically communicating development and then of course giving hope to citizens. So this space was left vacuum and it has been allowed to spread unverified claims and narratives, framing some level of information about how military coup is the best and the alternative that can help to engage further. And again, we've seen this in Benin just a few weeks ago. As a matter of fact, it has actually been insinuated that what we saw in Benin was actually a pseudo, some sort of stage-managed coup, just to be able to highlight some kind of information warfare as a way to respond. Yes, there were supposedly some claim that the West was interested and had also made that attempt. There is also the conspiracy theory that they were also using Nigeria for the purpose of also containing the AES states from further engaging. And then, of course, how the journalists and analysts have described this suggests that there is some more unfolding information that might also be coming out in the coming days. Deliberate narrative management is something that is fundamental, but we are not seeing ECOWAS and member states playing significant role across all of these.
It's interesting that you mentioned ECOWAS. We've had guests on this show who talked about a battle to capture the hearts and minds of young West Africans, that is what is ongoing right now between the West and the East. Now, ECOWAS, how much do you think ECOWAS can push back? How is the power of state-controlled and state-backed misinformation and disinformation affecting ECOWAS truly? And can it fight back against a Russia, a China, a France, a UK?
Yeah, I think first of all, it is good to mention that ECOWAS is lame, and then of course a toothless bulldog, and then of course all the regional protocols and all the regional instruments that have been established to be able to attract some sort of development across the region hasn't happened. You recall lately that ECOWAS transited from ECOWAS of the states to ECOWAS of the people. And then, of course, the spirit behind it is to be able to add value to the lives of the people within the region. One, to add value politically. Two, add economic value. Three, is to be able to provide a platform where people who are disenfranchised can also approach and engage. But unfortunately, the first challenge ECOWAS has made is that it has actually weakened its unified posture against state-backed influence in terms of operations. And this already has hampered its political will to call for any sort of coordinated effort or measures or countermeasures, as the case may be, whether against Western infiltration, because as it were, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are already having direct support from Russia, which includes even mineral resources. They have opened bilateral trade agreements. And this is particularly to spite ECOWAS.
Dr. Salaudeen Hashim, thank you for coming on InfoCheck.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's InfoCheck. We're armed by PenPlusBytes Disinformation Index Report. The facts fight back. I'm Francis Boniface. Join us next time as we uncover yet another hidden layer of West Africa's information wars. Stay alert and stay critical.